Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, red slimes, blue slimes, all slimes in between. Welcome to the opening week, the continuing opening week here of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer 2024 Summer Tournament. The main event, a race between sillydabbit and Centroid41 in the Hurtmore group. I am Bob Pineapple MD, and I'll be your commentator for this evening for this matchup here in week one. We've had a lot of action so far here in the opening week, much more to come. Several races from the jump. I won't spoil any outcomes, just in case people are wanting to watch the vodcasts and watch back on those particular ones. We also have some races that have been run without commentary or production so far, which will be vodcast later on in the week. And if you ever find yourself wanting to watch a race in this particular tournament, but there's not a scheduled broadcast, you might be able to check us out on the Red Slime Zone, often run by Tilo Tilo. But we're going to go ahead and jump right into this one. Centroid versus sillydabbit. And we're going to start off with what we see in these first three chests in Treasury. Of course, we know the back chest is going to be a magic key, but we have a cursed belt, an herb, and a magic key. Starting stats, not very good. 7 strength. It's not the worst you can start with, but it's not great. 21 HP is also bad. And we start with Tantagle there in the middle of a swamp, so an immediate hit to HP just to get out. But we do have a town immediately to the north that Centroid is going to find, and one that sillydabbit is going to find. So we have Breckenary and Garenham. Large shield and broadsword on offer for Centroid. They're in Breckenary, and of course the 6 gold in. sillydabbit, meanwhile, in Garenham is also going to see a large shield. It looked like also a full plate. Bamboo pole and the clothes, but buys the club and a set of clothes. No weapon and armor purchase for Centroid, but does grab a dragon scale. So it's going to offer an additional 2 defense. That club is definitely going to be useful for sillydabbit here, bringing us up to 11 attack power. So it's going to make the early grind to level 2 a little less painful. So both runners have seen a town, but neither one has seen the town that the other one has found just yet. Centroid tackling a red slime. sillydabbit now notices Breckenary to the north. So Centroid 1 red slime fight away from level 2. Dabbit is going to go ahead, duck into Breckenary, go to the weapon armor shop, see if there's anything there. Centroid taken down by a Drakima. We'll head right back to start. Centroid has still not quite yet seen Garenham. Hasn't quite gone far enough to the east and south to notice that. Going to try and take down this Warlock with Fairy Water, and it works. This is going to gain a couple of levels in rapid succession. We're going to see 14 power, 16 speed, 12 hit points, 18 magic, sleep, heal more, and hurt more. This seed may have just broken wide open. sillydabbit right behind. Both heal more and hurt more at level 2. So the early grind just got much, much easier. Those warlocks in the opening zone, a solid target for Hurtmore. But you may be able to find something even tastier. Now Centroid notices Garenham. It's headed down in that direction. For those who may be new to the randomizer, for the Dragon Warrior randomizer, just about everything imaginable is randomized, but of course Dragon Warrior, as an RPG, one of the more simple ones. Oh, that Draki has Hurtmore. That's unfortunate. That's going to send sillydabbit back. But the world map is completely randomized. Location of towns, as well as weapons and armor in every shop. Statistical growths are completely randomized. Monsters can also have a random assortment of abilities that may not necessarily be what they have in vanilla. So that's going to bring sillydabbit to level 3. All key items are shuffled as well. They could be in any chest or any search spot location. And of course, in Vanilla Dragon Warrior, you've got 3 search spots. The one in Coal, the one on the Overworld that normally holds Erdrick's token, and then in Hawksness, which normally has Erdrick's armor. But it does not necessarily have to be so. None of those 3 even has to be active. As Centroid takes down an Axe Knight with Hurtmore. It's going to gain 9 power, 6 speed, 6 hit points, 7 MP, and the Spell of Return, moving up to level 6, so skipped right over 5. Those 3 search spots could have a key item in them, could be either piece of Erdrick's equipment, could have the Stones of Sunlight, Erdrick's token, or the Harp. Could also have the Death Necklace, an item here in the randomizer, which when donned grants you an additional 10 attack power at the cost of 25% of your HP, or the Fairy Flute, or those spots could have nothing at all, and a way to be able to tell is that there are extra cursed belts in the randomizer. For every cursed belt you find, you know that one of those 3 search spots is active. So right now, even with Hurtmore, kind of modest gains in the stats category by level 6. Centroid pushing out to explore just a little bit across that bridge to the west, which looked initially like it might be a dead end, but definitely isn't. And there's Charlock, extremely close to home, so we're not going to have to go hunting for that when it's time for endgame. Blue Dragon gonna take down Centroid, gonna send them home. Of course, Blue Dragon is basically a coin flip, whether you're gonna land a Hurtmore on there. So Centroid with a little bit of an early experience lead, but with Hurtmore in tow, a 200-point experience lead in the early going is essentially nothing. sillydabbit can make that up relatively quickly. Both runners seemingly prioritizing exploration here in the early going over sticking around to gain levels. And with Hurtmore and Healmore in your pocket, not a terrible idea. Rogue Scorpion for sillydabbit, which is an excellent Hurtmore target. You're always going to take it down in one Hurtmore. Great thing to run into right now. That's going to bring Dabbit to 6. A Magiwyvern now, another excellent target for Hurtmore. Sillydabbit decides, I like this zone a lot. I'm going to stick around here. And Axe Knight, which is another great Hurtmore target, although you're not guaranteed to take those down in one Hurtmore. But Sillydabbit does, and just like that, the experience deficit is gone. Centroid, meanwhile, has found Rimmelder, and that is extremely important because Rimmelder gives us magic key access. And with magic keys, we can check the treasury in Tantegel Castle, we can open the back of Garenham, we can do all sorts of things. Keys can be extremely important, and finding them early is especially helpful. Sillydabbit, meanwhile, has gone all the way to level 7, takes an intentional death across the swamp in order to regain resources. Centroid is going to check the single chest that's in Rimmelder. It takes 2 keys to get there, only finds gold, but might be something useful he can buy here in Rimmelder with that. There is a hand axe on offer, but with Hurtmore, kind of whether you want to grab that or not is up to you. There was a large shield there as well, another large shield for 800, which would increase our defense by 10. Opted for the hand axe, did Centroid. Our time with the bamboo pole was fleeting. Headed back to Tantegel, we're going to check the treasury now. That's a torch. Another torch. And a dragon scale, which Centroid bought at the very beginning of the game, so a pretty big dud of a treasury. But we can move to the back of Tantegel and see what's in the basement. All cave entrances are randomized in the Dragonway randomizer as well, so down here it could be anything. And Sillydabbit has moved to level 8. The stats are steadily increasing. Strength is up to 66. And we have Tablet Cave in the basement of Tantegel, which only has a single chest, but it's right here, so why not check it? It is the Stones of Sunlight, so the Tablet Cave check is mandatory. You will occasionally see runners as a strategy choose not to check Tablet Cave if they find it out in the wild, but since it's here in the basement, it's an easy check. Dabbit heading right back to that grind spot he's been at this entire time. So Centroid ahead on exploration, but Sillydabbit ahead on experience. Centroid will now be able to check the back of Garenham, which has another 3 chests. We've got a cursed belt, so we know there's another search spot active, a key refund, and some gold. So we know that 2 of our 3 search spots for sure have something on them. We don't know which 2, but we know 2. So that green dragon is going to send Centroid back. Now at level 9 is sillydabbit. We're at 73 strength, 55 agility, 73 hit points, 33 MP, which is definitely the lag stat in this particular seed. And again, for those of you new to the randomizer, if you take a look at the stats, when they are white, we are not in what we call go mode. You've still got some grinding to do. When a stat rolls over into orange, that is tentative go mode, depending on what the other stats are at that point. It may be possible to win with that stat, but it's not recommended unless the other stats are really strong. Green is what we generally consider to be a stat having go mode status. Of course, it's all kind of guesswork, and it really depends on the dynamics of each seed. But as a rough estimate, it's useful at a glance. Centroid also picked up that large shield while I wasn't looking. And Dabbit traded in the club for a hand axe. So Dabbit now swinging at 88 attack power, which is good enough to be swinging at mid-game enemies. Of course, we've got Hurt More, so the number of times we're actually going to take physical swings is limited. But it is there, especially for those enemies for whom Hurt More is not an ideal option because of how often they resist it. And Dabbit goes right back to the grind. Centroid going back to top up on keys there at Rimmelder. Dabbit is closing in rapidly on level 10, which will come at 1,500 experience. That's another thing about the randomizer. We do not have vanilla numbers for gaining levels. The original Dragon Warrior for the NES, notoriously grindy. We use a slightly different experience curve. We'll see what Dabbit decides to do when level 10 hits. Because while the enemies he's taking down are good for kind of the late early game and middle game, it starts to become a bit of a diminishing returns proposition post level 10. That's going to be level 10 for Dabbit. 0426, so not an outstanding level, just kind of an incremental increase, but no strength on that one. There's that Rogue Scorpion. Rogue Scorpion's still a pretty solid target, even at this level. Centroid takes down a Star Wyvern. Going to bump him up to level 8. And that big 12 power increase. Dabbit backing Garanham to stay at the end. Of course, Dabbit has not found Rimmelder yet, so no keys. Can't check the back. Centroid is definitely ahead in terms of number of checks already. And Centroid finds Hawksness. Very good odds that something is here at the back of Hawksness. We've found 2 cursed belts. Gonna go ahead and check the spike. It's a red dragon, which is bad news because you can't really throw Hurtmores at red dragon. They have a 15 out of 16 Hurtmore resist. Pretty much gonna have to swing away, and we do not have the stats for that. So, it was just a scouting trip for Centroid, who likely wasn't going to be able to take out whatever was there anyway, with just 2 MP left. But now knows it's a red dragon and knows no sense going back there until I can take that on. While that was happening, Dabbit did locate Rimmelder. Heads right back to Tanticle with the keys. Is going to find that really just abysmal treasury and be very disappointed in that, but should head to the back where he will find Tablet and get the Stones of Sunlight. Yep, not even the Dragon Scale was worth anything, because Dabbit, too, had bought one. Centroid heading back into the back of Garanham, where he was last taken down by a green dragon, wants to continue exploring. It is Swamp Cave, so this could take us just about anywhere. The way the randomizer functions as far as the map is concerned, it can be either a single continent or 2 continents. If there are 2 continents, Swamp Cave will be the only connection between the 2. If it is a single continent, Swamp Cave will just take you somewhere else on that continent. But the spike tile in Swamp Cave is an Axnite, and you really can't get any better than that. It is probably the ideal spike tile for grinding, with Hurtmore in hand. Very low resist to Hurtmore, high probability of taking him down in one go, and the Axnite does not appear to have any special abilities that it doesn't have in vanilla. Centroid going to go ahead and save Guan. If you get back to Tanticle, of course, with Guan, you receive what's called Guan's Love in the game, but we refer to usually as the GPS, the Guan Positioning System, which allows you to know your coordinates by telling you the number of steps north, south, east, and west you are from Tanticle. And when you find out what the coordinates are from the old man in Cantlin, assuming there's an item there, Guan can be very useful for helping you locate that item if you don't feel confident in walking the number of steps to get there. Centroid running out of resources, though, and you actually do have to bring Guan back in order to get that. Otherwise, she will return to underneath Garanham. Apparently just decides that instead of walking home, she'd rather be back there. Yep, not enough MP to cast Return, so it's just having to do the walk as Centroid. But makes it, and will be granted the GPS. Silly Dabbit gets the good news about the Axnite, and you do have to wonder if maybe Silly Dabbit's thinking, man, I wish I'd found Rimmelder a little sooner. I would have been here grinding instead of walking forest tiles to grind on the overworld, but you can only make decisions with the information you have, and at the time, that's all the information he had. This is going to be level 11. 8 power, 12 speed, 10 hit points, 5 magic. Pretty decent level. You'll notice our agility has moved to over 70, putting it in orange. Of the 4 major stats, strength, agility, HP, and MP, agility typically seen as the least important. Agility determines your ability to run, and it does factor into the defense equation, which is whatever your gear defense value is, plus your agility divided by 2. With strength, HP, and MP considered much more important to completing the randomizer. However, low agility can make the Charlock run exceptionally painful, because if you get run blocked by a lot of things, it can definitely ruin multiple dives. So you'd much rather see a higher number there than not, but it's usually not a run killer entirely on its own. Sillydabbit now in Mountain Cave. There are 5 checks in Mountain Cave, 1 on the first floor, 4 on the second. Dabbit, unfortunately, kind of out of resources while doing this check, and the top floor is no joke with a wizard, but just baby breath, so no DL2 breath on the wizard. That's good. Finds the silver harp on the top floor. That is one of our required key items. In order to enter Charlock, we'll need to trade the harp for the Staff of Rain at the Staff of Rain cave, which we have not located yet. Sillydabbit heads down to floor 2. Druid Lords have hurt. Not really a big deal. Dabbit is going to head for the 2 chests check first instead of the 1. We've got fairy water. Gold. So 2 chests left to check. And I did miss Erdrick's sword being in the top of grave. Thank you, Shahali in chat. I was too busy looking at Sillydabbit's screen. So Centroid is going deep grave here. We call this the deep grave grind. Using a key to move further down. There are 2 chests to check down here. And depending on the situation, runners will not always choose to do this dive. Just because statistically 2 chests is not big in terms of percentage, but you never know. It's always a bit of a gamble. It does take at least a couple of minutes off the board to do this check. So you just have to make a judgment call. The first check was a dud. Second one is the one that takes the longest. You have to go through multiple floors. But Centroid, having a decent walk through it. For nothing. So Deep Grave, not mandatory in this seed. And does not have the outside spell. So is going to have to make the walk out or hope for a death warp. Not having outside is another reason runners might choose to skip the Deep Grave dive. Centroid going to go ahead and cast Radiant. One of the flags that we've turned on in this summer tournament that we have not in years past is Permanent Torch. In years past, We've just gone with the vanilla, where if you walk into a cave without a light source, the only thing you can see is the tile you're on. But having the torch can occasionally, for some runners, be worse than not having a light source at all, because your muscle memory on where to go can be messed up by the fact that you suddenly see 3 squares around you versus having the full radiant effect. Silly Dabbit back in Mountain Cave, meanwhile, while Centroid has just about gotten out of Grave. Oh, Rogue Scorpions with Dragon Lord 2 breath. I believe we had seen that just before, but I missed calling it out. The Fighter's Ring in that 4th chest check for Silly Dabbit. Fighter's Ring, of course, is going to give us an extra 2 attack power if equipped. I think Dabbit forgot that that he had already checked those 2. Just 1 chest left to check in Grave for Dabbit. A little bit of a walk to get to it. Meanwhile, more Rogue Scorpions. Which, as long as we're not being back attacked by them, is just fine. Just gold in the last check, so the only thing important is at the top of Mountain Cave, which is where we found the harp. The Fighter's Ring is in the immediate check you can make on the 2nd floor. Usually worth picking up if it's not too far out of your way. But the other chests, nothing important. For those of you who can't get quite enough Dragon Warrior Randomizer Summer Tournament action, we do have another race starting just about now over on the Dragon Warrior Randomizer channel, in case you want to keep one eyeball over there while you're watching this one. And of course, if you'd rather listen to Billick, who is commentating that one, I won't take it personally. That's going to be level 12 for Silly Dabbit, 4, 2, 1, 17 MP, so that's where the MP was hiding. We're up to over 60 now. Which gives us 12 casts of Hurt more, or 7 casts of Heal more. Centroid did pick up the Death Necklace while I wasn't looking. Not sure where that was. I was a little afraid he was about to put it on there with that menu. Death Necklace was in Grave. Alright, which Silly Dabbit has not located yet. Which is, of course, where Erdrick's sword was as well. Now, with attack power already at 113 at level 10, which, if you take into account what the strength here is at level 12 for Silly Dabbit, would be at about 125 for 12. So the Death Necklace is looking less and less likely to be necessary in this seed. And we don't even know if it'll be possible to use in this one, because you need your HP really to be above 129 before you even start thinking about using the Death Necklace. Very risky to do so otherwise. So, as has been the case since pretty much the beginning, I think you still have to say Exploration Advantage Centroid, even though Centroid is currently lacking the Silver Harp because he has not found Mountain Cave, but Silly Dabbit has not found Grave, which has the sword, which would start to make things much easier, but Dabbit is ahead in experience still. Centroid spies 2 towns, one of which is Cantlin. A big 3 shops in Cantlin, of course, one behind a locked door. But very importantly, behind a locked door and over a bunch of damage tiles, the old man that can tell us whether or not there is an item hidden on the overworld and what the coordinates to that item are. Centroid checking in with the Radish Merchant, thereby validating the seed. Silly Dabbit finds out about the Red Dragon at the Hawksness Spike. We do have a search. It's 7 north and 77 east. So that Guan pickup may have been a good thing. That is a significant walk to the east. Silly Dabbit now has found the Harp Turn-In Cave, is going to get the Staff of Rain. That's one more thing to check off the list. Only lacks Erdrick's token now to be able to get the Rainbow Drop. Meanwhile, the second town for Centroid is Cole, which, of course, has the search spot in front of the fountain. And it's the armor. So Centroid with full Erdrick's equipment, Erdrick's sword and Erdrick's armor. Silly Dabbit yet to find either piece of equipment, but does now have that Staff of Rain, which Centroid does not have. Centroid has not found the harp even yet to be able to get the Staff of Rain. So, hard to really say who's ahead, except that Centroid now has found every town. There are no towns remaining that Centroid is not located. Centroid now needs to locate Mountain Cave. And since we are also missing the token, it seems very likely that Erdrick's token is on the Overworld coordinate spot, although it could be in the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave. I do not believe we have seen that one either, and there is a single chest to check there. Speaking of the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave, there it is. We also call it Freebie Cave because you get a free chest check, but it's just a magic key that all but confirms, that is guaranteed then, that Erdrick's token is on the Overworld coordinate search spot. I believe we have done every Overworld check now. Well, except Hawksness. We don't know what's at Hawksness. So we know, we have seen Hawksness, and we know that a red dragon is guarding that spot, but neither runner has taken down that red dragon yet. So, we have Hawksness, and we have the Overworld spot. One likely to have the token, one guaranteed to have the token, in fact. The other likely to have the flute, although we have not found a third cursed belt, so it is possible that Hawksness is empty. We do know there's something on the Overworld, because the old man in Cantlin confirmed it by giving us coordinates, instead of telling us to just go fight. Centroid now doing the search, trying to figure out how to get to that spot. But looks like you can't get there from here. You have to answer chat. Yep, hard to say really who is truly ahead. It's really going to come down to when each runner finds the thing that the other has not. Finds the thing that the other has not. Finds the thing that they have not found that the other runner has. There it is. sillydabbit does remain ahead on experience by over 1,000, approximately 1,300. And that's going to be level 13. Another huge MP boost, up to 79. Agility now into the green. Though we will almost certainly see that rise before it's time to go in. HP, not yet at a level that we want to go in on. With Erdrick's sword, 88 strength, you can do it. You would probably want to do what we call the fairy water strats, which is to load up on fairy water and throw 5 or 6 of those at the Dragon Lord first, before resorting to swings. Though with the Fighter's Ring, assuming Dabbit does find... Oh, Dabbit does have that equipped, so that is going to actually boost him up to 130 attack power, so that would be just enough. Dabbit decides I'm done with this hand axe. Let's go with the broadsword. That does bring attack power up to 110. So fighting the Red Dragon in Hawksness is a little bit more of a prospect at this point. With 92 HP, you can safely swing and heal more in alternating types. So that is a mountain cave find for Centroid, which is big, because that's going to give Centroid the silver harp, and the fighter's ring, of course. And there's the silver harp for Centroid. Gonna go ahead and head down. We know the only thing of note down there is the fighter's ring. But Centroid does not know that. And is gonna check the 2 chests first. We know the fighter's ring is in the chest immediately to the south. If this randomizer looks like something you might be interested in, the Dragon Warrior Randomizer community loves to welcome all comers. You can join our Discord. An easy randomizer to kind of pick up and learn. More difficult to master. And Dabbit does indeed go to challenge the Red Dragon. And with 110 attack power and several heal mores in the tank, this is definitely going to be possible. And there it is. Ah, but it was just a standard old Red Dragon patrolling Hawksness, not the spike tile. So, Silly Dabbit gonna get another 350 experience out of this. Plenty of heal mores left in the tank. And there it is. And we have the token. So, overworld coordinates not required. The overworld coordinates are the fairy flute. Confirmed. That is the last, what we call kind of key item out. And the flute is not necessary to win. It's a nice to have sometimes, especially if there's a golem guarding the Dragon Lord on the mini-boss tile. Which, for those of you who are more familiar with the vanilla game, what we basically did in the randomizer was we took the golem encounter spike tile that is usually in front of Cantlin and moved it to the basement of Charlock just before the Dragon Lord to have kind of a mini-boss before you get to the Dragon Lord. It does not necessarily have to be a golem, but that is where that tile is now. So it can be useful if there's a golem there, just to put it to sleep. And speaking of the devil, there's a golem that Silly Dabbit is now fighting. But it is not required, so coordinates not necessary. So Centroid seems to be kind of moving around trying to figure out how to check the... No, Centroid did check the coordinates. It did have the flute. My mistake. Yep, to answer chat for Improbable Spork, Shahali is correct. In vanilla, it's just a choke point. It looks like maybe there's going to be something there in the basement, and then there's not. And I admit, I ran vanilla 2 months ago for the first time in years, and In my brain, I was fully expecting to fight something, and I just passed right on by it. It was very disconcerting. So Silly Dabbit gained 14 here just recently. That brings strength to 90, which is plenty. Especially with the fighter's ring on, because that's going to give you, with Erdrick's sword, 132 attack power. Totally fine. Agility up to just shy of 80. Totally fine. HP 95. Not great. Not what you want. MP at 80 is okay. That's 10 casts of Heal More. But you absolutely want more HP if you're only going in with that much MP. Centroid now into Hawksness. Knows that the token has to be here. It's the final check. Silly Dabbit still needs to find Grave, but is going to grab the rainbow drop so that he's ready to roll. Needs to find Cole as well. Has not found that two-town section that Centroid found about 15-20 minutes ago at this point. Centroid in the fight with the Red Dragon. Plenty of heal mores. Shouldn't be an issue. And there it goes. Oh, and he walks off the tile without searching. Oh, he got it. Okay. I just moved over when he was fighting that red dragon, and I had been looking at Dabbit's screen, didn't realize he got token. There we go. So Centroid now only needs to turn the harp in for the Staff of Rain, get the rainbow drop, and it's grind and go time for Centroid. Silly Dabbit still on the hunt for Cole and for Grave. Dragon Warrior 2's difficulty ramp in chat. Yeah, you know, for all the talk of the original vanilla Dragon Warrior being a grindy experience, for my money, there's nothing quite like Dragon Warrior 2 when it comes to grindy experiences. That one takes the crown, in my opinion. Centroid is on the hunt for the Staff of Rain Cave, while sillydabbit is on the hunt for coal and the top of Grave. The deep dive to Grave, we know, of course, would yield nothing, so it would really kind of be in sillydabbit's best interests if he found coal first. Centroid does find Staff of Rain, so just a rainbow drop away. And it looks like Centroid has decided that that red dragon, he'd love to take down another couple of those. And grab level 14 and see where we're at. Likely gonna take a critical hit here to take this one down. Nope, manages it. Did some great high rolls. And that's going to be level 14 for Centroid. So Centroid has caught up in levels. Takes a look at the stats. He's still about 1,000 experience behind, but much less so than before. And since he has full knowledge, is in grind and go mode officially. sillydabbit, meanwhile, cannot seem to find those missing 2 towns and that missing cave. They are eluding him. Centroid is headed to Swamp Cave. To that Axe Knight is my guess. A very tasty hurt more target. And likely the best possible grind in this seed. Dabbit has finally located those 2 towns, and that is the correct order for Dabbit. He definitely wanted to find coal first, because it's going to stop him from deep diving Grave when he finds the sword on the top floor. So depending on how fast Dabbit can move south to find, I think it's to the south, it might be to the east, Grave, grab the sword. Dabbit already has the rainbow drop, which Centroid does not. Centroid will have to get the drop on his way. Well, Centroid just got it, so that advantage is gone. sillydabbit, though, is checking coordinates, and this might be disastrous because there's something on coordinates, and Dabbit is going to know it's either flute or sword, and because he has not found Grave, he might be banking on not needing to go in there at all. Yeah, unfortunately, Dabbit went right home, and he was very close to Grave. This choice is probably the decision of the match right here. I cannot necessarily blame him. There was no way for Dabbit to know that he was so close to the entrance of Grave. And you find out there's active coordinates, and you've only got 2 items. You got a 50-50 shot. Going for broke. We're probably getting a princess rescue here from Dabbit. Because those coordinates, not at all an easy count. In the meantime, Centroid has drawn essentially even with Silly Dabbit in experience, and of course is in grind and go mode. And now pulls ahead. So what had been, to this point, a pretty even race has now shifted momentum decidedly into Centroid41's favor. With this Axe Knight victory is going to bring Centroid to level 15. And that is going to bring with it 4 more power, 3 speed, 3 hit points, 3 MP. So now there is a choice to make here. 98 HP is not ideal, but it is technically winnable. So what do? You've got 10 heal mores, assuming you can get down to the Dragon Lord with all your resources. It doesn't feel good. You are up plus 80 on agility, so you feel a little bit better about possibly running in Charlock, although that is never a guarantee, it seems, no matter what your agility score is. For those who are unaware, the damage formula for Dragon Lord 2, which is the second form of the Dragon Lord, of course, is that you take your attack power and immediately knock off that 1 in the hundreds position. You can just forget about that. Take what's left, which in this case would be 36. Then you're going to divide that in 2, which of course is 18. Then you're going to divide that in 2 again, which is 9, and that's going to give you your damage range, which would be 9 to 18 for every swing that you make on the Dragon Lord. So, that means, as you might guess, it is literally impossible to even damage the Dragon Lord unless you have over 100 AP. Well, Centroid has decided that level 15 is not enough. Not enough to gamble on. But is going for the red dragons now, as opposed to the Axe Knights. Bargaining that getting nearly 3 times the experience per red dragon kill is worth the longer amount of time it will take to kill them. Meanwhile, Dabbit lacks only Erdrick's sword. So taking down these red dragons, it's not going to take Centroid very long at all to get to level 16. And pretty much any gain of HP I think we'll see Centroid make the attempt. Dabbit finally locates Erdrick's sword, has everything. That's going to put Silly Dabbit in grind and go. He's got ground to make up, that's for sure. But is level 15, so he's not that far behind. Gonna go ahead and cast Return. Still no outside spell. That spell is coming at level 16. You are guaranteed to have all spells by level 16 in the randomizer. But when you gain each spell is a mystery. Dabbit looks like is going to be doing the Axe Knight grind. That's going to be level 16 for Centroid. 0202. Well, the two stats you really needed to gain something in, you didn't really. At all. Not enough MP for another Healmore cast. Maybe if you had gained enough MP that you had 11 Healmores, maybe you make that attempt. But the 0 HP is a killer. So we are going to see level 17. I imagine Silly Dabbit will make the same decision once he sees that absolutely abysmal level 16. Centroid takes the death to the Red Dragon, goes back to full resources, takes a look at the stats again, just trying to decide. This is a situation where you're going to hem and haw about this a lot. You know, am I behind? Do I need to go for broke here? Do I think I took too long to find everything? What's my opponent doing? This is giving Silly Dabbit a chance to catch up, experience-wise. Down to a deficit of just over 1,000. And Silly Dabbit should easily be able to get to level 16 on this grind before running out of resources. So I'm going to take a couple of more Axe Knights. Centroid, back to Hawksness. One more Axe Knight will do it for Silly Dabbit. And we'll bring with it the crushing disappointment. I think in this instance now, with so much experience between levels, I definitely prefer the Red Dragon grind here. And there's Silly Dabbit's level 16. And the Spell of Outside, the real prize of this level. Oh, that did not work out well for Centroid there. Got sent home a little early. Dabbit sticking with the Axe Knight. And we're going to see a death warp here from Silly Dabbit. And we'll see what Dabbit chooses to do. If Dabbit is going to... Well, he manages to get one more Axe Knight off. If Dabbit chooses to come back, or if he's going to take the death warp and then head to Hawksness. This race has once again gotten much closer. Centroid is not even a full Charlock dive ahead at this point. Dabbit right back to Garanham, so... needs to keep an eye on his key situation. Although you do get the key back here, so... can constantly replenish that, but I believe he's only got one in his inventory at any given time here, so needs to be careful about that. "70 runners have entered the 2024 Summer Tournament. A fantastic turnout. Here in the group stages, we have 10 different groups, 7 runners each. And the top 3 from each of the groups at the end of the group stage will be moving on to the playoffs, to the bracket stages. So the playoffs will feature 21 runners. And if you have any interest at all in Dragon Warrior Randomizer, you can start maybe practicing on your own. Join our Discord community. We're always happy to help. Plenty of people who can teach you how to do the run. And then next season, this could be you. Well, level 17 is the clear go mode. Gained a whole load of HP. MP got us up just enough that we have 11 pure casts of Heal More, assuming that we don't have to spend any resources going down. The amount of HP we gained just made this very safe, in fact, because the odds you're going to be able to pull off a double swing on Dragon Lord 2 very high. Indeed, answering in chat, an increase of 24 hit points is that level. Silly Dabbit right behind. Just needs to take down a few more Axe Knights. But Centroid is going to hold that rainbow drop into the sky and be the first of our runners to enter Charlock, which we call the Great Equalizer, because no matter how well your run went before this moment, Charlock can just decide, you know what? No. Red dragons on the top floor of Charlock is definitely not something you like to see. Golems as well. Dabbit trying to expend enough resources to be able to see that level 17 before death warping back. Another red dragon that wasn't letting Centroid get away that easily. They can be problematic. Even at 84 agility, the formula to run from enemies is different on the Overworld than it is in Charlock. It is more difficult to run from things in Charlock. Depending on who you ask, they might even say it's far more difficult than it should be. For high agility seeds to end up being run blocked so much, but as we are fond of saying here, agility is just a number. And that red dragon is not wanting to let Centroid go, and he's gonna have to burn a heal more. That is an early burn of a heal more, and another red dragon does get away on the second attempt. Gonna burn an herb here. Dabbit is ready to go, meanwhile. Centroid is not even halfway finished with his dive, just because of some terrible luck. Now, we are into a different zone now, so the enemy set is different. Blue Dragon didn't want to let him get away. There's a red dragon, but gets away on the first try. So, red dragons in 2 of the 3 Charlock zones. Nothing but red dragons for Centroid, and even back attacked on that one. Blocked. Trying to do a little RNG manipulation. Doesn't work. Oh, risky run on 29 HP, but realized I really don't want to burn another heal more there. Blocked by an Axe Knight as well. Centroid just not having great run luck here. Luckily has only had to burn 1 heal more. So this is still very doable, but really doesn't want to lose any more heal mores to this walk. Dabbit now entering top floor. We'll see how his walk goes. Immediately runs into a red dragon. That doesn't want to let him get away. Centroid now in the basement. No need to check the treasury. There is nothing there we want. The spike tile here could be very important. Because if it's something like a red dragon and you have to burn a heal more, yikes. Silly Dabbit, unfortunately, takes a death on the top floor of Charlock to a red dragon. Oof. Well, spike tile, no problem for Centroid. And immediately starts talking to the Dragon Lord. Didn't burn an herb before doing so, which was interesting, but goes into the DL1 fight with 10 heal mores. Gets an opening stop spell, which is exactly what you want from the first phase of the Dragon Lord. A second stop spell, fantastic. Very rare. He's going to try and out-herb the Dragon Lord, but now he's casting Hurt more. Yep, and out of herbs, so just going to have to take the swing. So 3-swing Dragon Lord 1. Moving into DL2. No back attack. We're going to open with an 11. Going to burn that heal more at 50 HP. It's a 16, so we're 27. That's a 42. That's 59. 71. Pretty solid rolls for this point for Centroid. Oh, very nice roll there. That's going to bring us to 87. That's 101. Looking real good. $117. This is essentially a lock. 127, even with that 10. Yep, Centroid pretty much has this in the bag, barring a miss menu. And there it is. Get your GGs out in chat for Centroid41. Is going to take this race, moving Centroid to 1-0 in the Hurtmore group. And Silly Dabbit will fall to 0-1. We're going to get our final time here for Centroid shortly. That's going to be 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 13 seconds. So GG to Centroid. A very well-run race. Silly Dabbit now in the basement of Charlock and is, looks like, going to go ahead and try and finish this thing out. Well, the tail of the tape here was a very close race. Silly Dabbit opting for more early grinding, Centroid opting for more exploration pushing. And both runners finding everything, but in very different orders. And Silly Dabbit just took a little longer to find those last few things, which gave Centroid just the right amount of lead that he needed to catch up in experience and pull out the win. It does look like we will be joined here shortly by Centroid41 for a little quick post-game interview. Meanwhile, Silly Dabbit talking to the Dragon Lord. Moving into the DL1 fight. And joining us here in the commentary booth is our winner, moving to 1-0, Centroid41. Centroid, GG, and how do you feel about it?
Thank you. I think it felt pretty good in general. The seed was pretty straightforward. I don't feel like I made a lot of big mistakes. I mean, my main question was like, I kind of realized once I started grinding that, maybe 15 would have been viable. So I was kind of, clenching definitely the entire dive, thinking maybe I made a mistake going to 17. But wow, there was a lot of red dragons in that Charlock. So I'm kind of glad I went to 17, to be honest.
Yep, we were wondering, kind of just speculating, because, 15 and then, of course, 16 was basically no help whatsoever, and just the thought of, like, well, should I give it a shot or not? I was going to ask you, when that 16 came and basically nothing changed, what was your thought process there?
I was just like, yep, just need another one. I mean, yeah, but just like, well, here we go. Yeah, I guess I died to one of those red dragons. Like, I got a bad habit of just kind of zoning out during grinding because it's so easy to just think about like, because you're thinking about the math, and you're just like, what do I need to be able to dive? And I just swung a couple times on 29, and I got lucky sometimes, but I got sent back to Charlock with like 1,000 XP to go. That was not like that. That's not something I would like to do from now on.
Sure. The tail of the tape here really is just you and Dabbit actually ran this pretty close. There was one decision point early that was different, which is that Dabbit kind of elected more for an early game grind, while you kind of pushed out an overworld grind, in fact. And meanwhile, of course, get your GGs out in chat for Silly Dabbit, who's going to finish this up here as well. But you opted more for a little more exploration than Dabbit did, and so that kept Silly Dabbit about 2 levels ahead of you experience-wise through the mid-game. And then Dabbit found Mountain Cave long before you did, but you found Coal and Grave long before Dabbit did, and that ultimately told the story, because it took Dabbit quite a while to find those two, and by the time he had, your dedicated grind in Go mode had well caught you up to just beyond, and then Dabbit had to take 2 dives into Charlock, but it wouldn't have made a difference. You were already in the basement.
I see. Yeah, that crossed my mind to maybe just chill in Swamp Cave. I think I took an early level because it was, while I was rescuing Gwaelin, I'm like, let's multitask, let's grab a level, and I'm like, do I want to hit this again, or do I want to keep pushing? I don't know. I think my MO recently has just been to be as aggressive with exploration as possible, and I guess it just kind of paid off. So.
It did indeed ultimately pay off. And now, joining us in the commentary booth, as well, is Silly Dabbit. Silly Dabbit, first of all, GG, well run. And how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, first off, GG to Centroid. Basically when I found Caitlin, Cole, and the Grave, when I did, I was kind of just waiting for the dot done. Getting to those so late. I think I explored every nook and cranny of the map, except going over that sneaky peninsula right near the start too. So, sometimes the map beats you in this one, and I think that's what happened with me in this one. But yeah, definitely GG's, well run.
Yeah, that was ultimately the difference. That final little push to find Cole and, of course, Grave to get the sword was ultimately what did it, because as I was telling Centroid, you two were actually running a very, very close race, just that you were a little ahead in experience, Dabbit, because you did that kind of dedicated overworld grind early. Centroid was a little ahead in exploration, but you two found opposite caves, and it took the other player quite a while to find the one that you had already found. It just took you slightly longer, so by that point, Centroid had been able to close the experience gap.
Yeah, and I figure if I go down to Grave instead of up to Caitlin and Cole, and I find the sword, then maybe there's a chance, because I did get bounced out of the top floor of Charlock. I decided I wasn't going to drop a heal more. If the red was going to say no, we were close to start, I'll just come right back. So yeah, that's the way it goes. But yeah, exploration sometimes gets you.
I do want to ask you, because I did ask Centroid, when 15 was so marginal, when 16 came and basically nothing changed, did it cross your mind at all, do I need to try for this, or did you think, no, I definitely have to go to 17?
On my end, absolutely not. When I looked at I think we had low HP at the time, right? Like 98. 12 swings to win, 10 heal mores, no chance of doubles. It didn't cross my mind. Once we got the big HP on 17, I was like, okay, this feels like a pretty clear go.
Yeah, the 17 with the 24 additional HP. Yeah, you were sitting on 98 HP at 15. It stayed 98 HP at 17. The only thing that changed was 2 more agility, 2 more MP, but it didn't give you another cast to heal more. So it's one of those stat screens that you kind of dread looking at as a runner, I feel like, because you're like, oh, technically, mathematically, I could win this, but
Yeah, the extra heal more was very comfy, and having the extra HP was just. I think it really mattered because, I feel like if I would have dove at 98, like, I mean, I didn't know what Charlock looked like until I went in, but like it was loaded with red dragons on the first 5 floors, so it's like if they attack you twice, you're in danger of blowing a heal more. Whereas with 122 HP, you might get 3 chances to run or something like that, unless they roll low. But yeah, I at 17 made a huge difference. I think there was like a small chance of winning at 15, but I wasn't sure if it was worth it.
Yep, it was definitely very, very marginal. You both ended up going to 17, which is probably the right call. So yeah, this was definitely an interesting one to watch. The two of you took slightly different tacks and found things in a little bit of different order and really kind of kept things close. And even here in the end, there's only about a 4-minute difference, and really only because, silly dabbit, you got bounced out of Charlock top floor, or else it would have been even closer. But really entertaining, really well done. Does it feel good to get the first one kind of out of the way for both of you?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely some jitters in the first race. Feels it's good. It's good to get back in the swing of things.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Getting the first one under your belt, and I don't feel like I played bad. Sometimes you miss, a little peninsula here or there. And early in the game, I think I looked over that way and thought I had seen. I didn't actually mark it a dead end. I knew that there was possibly something over there, but getting to that second continent and not seeing that little dead end space made me go back there because I knew there was still an unexplored area to the east. But I think 75% of this map was not really required to even see. So, but yeah, it's good to get the first one under the belt, and yeah, good luck the rest of the way.
Well,
Yeah,
good
thanks,
luck.
GG's, and good luck to you as well, for sure.
And good luck to both of you. Again, a very well-run race. Good luck the rest of the way in your Hurt More group. Speaking of group match, we do have a live race going on right now over on the main Dragon Warrior Randomizer channel. We're going to load up a raid here over there momentarily. Jump over to that one. So I will say that on behalf of our restreamer High Spirits, our tracker Shahali, I've been Bob Pineapple MD. It's been my absolute pleasure to be here with everybody this evening. We're going to jump over to Dragon Warrior Randomizer in just a few moments.